Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whenever this may reach you. Now it is raining here in this very remote region of Australia. We could talk about water. The water shortage in Australia, the droughts and all the problems they have with water are perpetuated not by the climate, not by anything like that, but by politicians being either ignorant of how to solve this problem or purposely creating shortages so they can charge more money for water or cause problems for farmers, so then farmers can be have drought relief, which makes politicians feel good and say, look, we're doing something about drought, we're handing more money over every time there's a drought on. When in actual fact that's not doing anything about the drought at all. It just keeps handing money out while avoiding actually acting to remedy the solution with what are practical solutions. Although drought's a problem, creating water or creating a supply of water is no longer a problem throughout most of Australia at some stage. Then creating a reservoir or a main to contain that water so it's for use on the farms or villages or towns or any area, then that's also readily available. And everything that can be said in these videos can be checked on the net, and you can do your own research and find it out to be true that the drought problem in Australia can be fixed or sorted if you want to. If Australia was willing to cooperate as a nation instead of being divided by politicians, left and right politicians, pretending to be divided just to divide up the votes, hoping to get power. That's all it's about. Really, when it comes to developing this country or actually doing something about climate change, both either haven't got a clue or are purposely making the problem worse by creating more and more debt, pretending to do stuff rather than actually spending money and investing on doing actual real things. If you ask anyone, very simple question, where's the water? Where's the water? Well, everyone who's standing, unless it's the most arid region on Earth, which is the Antarctic, or the middle of the Sahara on a hot day, everyone is standing in the air, in the water. Humidity index. The humidity is all around us. So it's not difficult to then do a survey and quantify the amount of humidity over a long period of time in any particular area or region or farm you like, and then from that develop a prognosis, a system that then allows you to forecast how much water you have available over a period into the future. It's not about there are many ways to deal with it, but it's not as much about making lots of pipes and pipelines and all that sort of thing, and dams and all that sort of things that may have had to have been done in the past, although some of that is a really good thing to do in Australia if you're really serious about developing it, instead of just talking about it and letting the Chinese and Arabs and everyone else develop it like the Australian governments are prepared to do, because they're whatever is causing them to be unable to actually do much other than talk about things. That seems to be the only thing they're capable of doing. Anyone who's run an air conditioner knows that water is created or taken out of the air in the process of cooling down the air. Even in Broken Hill, you can get 20 litres a day out of the air, just by your in-house air conditioner. Just by that simple process. It's not difficult to imagine then having very large units of these, and they're already available on the net. There is no secrets here. It's as if there's a secret, but there's no secret at all, because to solve Australia's water supply problem, so it becomes there's a constant or supply of water for farms, remote farms and remote areas. It's relatively easy to do. You buy the solar panels or the wind generator if you want, and using those sources of power, the natural sources of power, the free energy that provides, otherwise you have to pay for the kit itself, but the energy is free after that, then that provides the power then to generate refrigeration units or condensation units, call them what you like, that then allow it to precipitate water out of the air in such quantities that will keep a farm, certainly it allows it to store water in a reservoir, not a dam, because the dams evaporate and fill up with dust. So dams themselves are not a really brilliant idea anymore. You need a covered reservoir. You can store your water, it keeps it nice and cool and fresh, and then you can also, if you get into the hydroponics of it and modernise farming altogether in an arid regions, then you can recirculate that water and provide feed on site, or some of it, for your cattle and produce and animals within the regions. See, if there had been actually, and you can do this in villages, you can do it in schools, you can put machines in schools what take out water out of the air, so the kids at school have got pure fresh water, and they don't need to it eliminates plastic bottles. You take your little cup to the drinking fountain and you can put 10 cents in or something till it pays for itself, and the school has got a supply of fresh, clean drinking water for the school without any panic about kids getting poisoned by what's in the rivers and whatever is residual from pesticides, herbicides and everything that's in the waters in Australia. So you see, all these problems are easy to solve. It may take many years to solve them all, to actually put these things in place, but the fact is, the water problem has already been solved. The only problem is a political problem. The politicians are not into solving problems, they're into creating problems, extending the problems, blowing the problems out of all proportion, and then handing out more money to say, look, that's the only way they know they fix the problem. It's like saying, oh, I'm giving my kids another ice cream, that'll shut him up streaming. That basically sums up what formats the policy amongst politicians. Better give say we're giving out $10 billion for this, that sounds like we're fixing the problem. It's just handing money out, it hasn't fixed the problem at all. And because of that, whatever it is intrinsic weakness within the politics itself, and the fear of the public itself in having an innovative and original sort of conversation about what's technically available, what's easy to engineer, what's relatively easy to install, there seems to be that whole, that practical conversation when it comes to climate change, whether it's a problem or not. That's up to you personally, that's a philosophical matter. But drought is a problem. A drought's going to be ongoing perpetually, as it always has been. So if you want to really are concerned about climate change as a problem, just say it objectively and impartially, you have to deal with it as a practical matter, locally, regionally, and as a nation, to look after yourself for your own survival, because that is a positive process towards your own social and capital evolution. So you're improving your society, you're improving your economics, and your long-term capital gain is the water you have and actually energy on site. If you're going to put water on site, you might as well use that solar to drive your farming equipment and stuff like on site. Because that way, money is better off spent directly in practical solutions rather than nefarious ones, like the way they apply wind and solar energy now, which is an energy or currency loss system, because it still relies upon the coal or fossil fuel economy to pay for all that. So the wind and solar is actually a massive currency drag, an energy drag on the fossil fuel economy. There's no good being sort of adversarial all the time and you're wrong, I'm right. Let's look at things sympathetically towards the land itself, the country and the animals, the need of farmers, the need of people for the basic need that water is, and have a look how you solve that practically and simply over many years, if you like, and using some means of paying for that. If everyone is interested in saving the climate or saving the country from the climate problem in this country, everyone ought to be willing to put a little tiny bit in, 0.5% or something of their income into accumulating fund to help pay for all of this, rather than spend double your money in your power bills to get nothing out of it, but less money available to spend down the shops, or spend on your kids, or spend on your missus or yourself. And that's what the point is. You have to borrow more money then, which means there's a currency loss due to the system we've got now. Because they're not actually investing in anything as any great long-term gain for the country itself. It doesn't produce anything. But if you use wind and solar to produce water, then they really become, that's a very good practical application of those power sources. Because it doesn't have to work all the time, but when it does work with the rhythms and the flows of the wind and the sun or whatever, you do again then work with nature to solve natural problems practically, rather than pretending to solve problems politically when all you're doing is causing ever more problems. So there you go. Problems for water are easy to solve if you have a practically apply the knowledge, technology, engineering and science already available in the market. It's not complex, it's like buying something from Kmart and shove it in your house, a fridge or a car, or buying something, shove it on your table and using it. That's all there is involved in solving the water. It's not complicated. Those who think it is should go and say, well, maybe I'm wrong. They're wrong. Maybe they should do a little bit of research on the net, go and find out what's available in lieu of solving the water problems, or the hydrology, if you like, by first of all doing a quantity survey, hydrological survey or humidity survey index throughout Australia to determine how much humidity over a period of time gives you how much water you can take out of the air over a period of time. Then you can quantify from that every single aspect of your being that relates to water, your drinking water, or your water for your animals, or growing hydroponic crops, or whatever you want to do. So therefore you assure your country, your people, your nation, and your sovereignty of the very long term, rather than whatever the politicians do, wasting money, run away and hide in New York somewhere after they've once again failed the country they're supposed to serve. Anyway, let's just leave it at that and let people make up their own mind, because that's what democracy is all about. Making your own mind. Don't believe me, don't believe anyone. Certainly do not believe any politician, because they're not going to tell you the truth at any time or about just about anything. They're not paid to do that. They're paid to mislead you. And because they're misled themselves, or they don't know. Maybe they do not paid to mislead you, but maybe they just don't know. Maybe they totally have never looked at the problems in any practical manner. That are, they're not any engineers, they're not technologists, they're not practical people, they're just lawyers and whatever. So you have to have sympathy for those people, because they certainly don't know. You have to forgive their ignorance. They don't know anything. That's why maybe they're in politics. Anyway, water problem is already solved. It's a political problem, not an actual practical problem. The practicalities of it are basically, they're simple. They're simple to solve. And many people ahead in the world are going ahead with this. We're just a little bit slow because we're frightened of having new ideas in this country, which is a great shame, because it's a great country, great people, and it's a real sad and shame that the politicians really don't serve them much anymore. Basically, they're mocking the place. Bye.